You're watching Leafs Morning Take with host Nick Alberga and former NHLer Jay Rosehill. The show starts now.
Greetings and salutations. Happy Thursday. It's the Thursday edition here of Leafs Morning Take, presented by Betano, Nick Alberga, and Jay Rosehill. What's up, Rosie? How are you, buddy?
Good song. I'm liking that intro, man.
Yeah, no. Shout out to our guy Isaiah Mustafa out in Los Angeles for voicing that earlier this season. We're humming, man. We're humming right along into the Christmas break here.
That was Mustafa, our guy?
Yeah.
Who does the Old Spice commercials?
That's him.
Cool. I didn't know that.
Got him
Leafs
got him on the voice note. We're cooking. We're cooking big time. We got lots in store over the holiday season. Just to set the table, next week we're going to be with you Wednesday to Friday, so keep note of that as we head on forward to 2024. It's weird to say that, eh?
Honestly, it is. I was looking at like a guy's DB this morning just to see where the hell he's been or whatever, and then it's like, oh, he hasn't played since 21-22, and I'm like, oh, so he's just not playing this year, and it's like, no, that's 2 years ago, man. It's like, what the hell is going on? Time's ticking, baby.
It's pretty nuts. And I felt the same way last night on social media. I don't know if you got wind of this video from the GOJHL, the Greater Ontario Junior Hockey League, but this is a throwback to like the 90s, and I could not believe the remarks and replies in this video. I want you to break it down first.
Oh, so this is Junior?
Yeah.
Everyone comes flying in. Oh, the one guy's like spearing. Oh, no. You can't do that. Guy's on his back and he sheds him and starts bare knuckle bombing him one after another, just fucking starting the lawnmower in the guy's face.
People saying prison time should be in store. Have they not watched hockey in the 90s, the 80s, 70s? It's crazy to me, man.
Do they all have cages on?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that changes things. It's
like tier 2.
Yeah, I know. The AJHL's got almost all wear cages now, too. It looks so Bush League. I hate it, but I don't know. It sure looks vicious, but he's not actually hurting the guy. He's got a full-on cage on, but that's pretty aggressive. There's got to be a background story to these two and why he absolutely just lost his shit. He throws him down by his cage, too.
I was reading like the replies in like the tweet, and apparently that kid has played in like 5 different teams in the last 3 years. So like he does this everywhere, apparently.
What an idiot. Get him out of here. But yeah, I don't know.
You're telling me you've never done that to anybody in your days of playing hockey, especially as a fighter. You never got in a tilt like that where you just beat the wheels off somebody for no reason.
I'll beat the wheels off guys. I haven't like unknowingly them grabbed them by their cage, thrown them down, and just started jackhammering them. But I don't know. I've jumped guys. Like one time I really jumped a guy, but you know, you're just sending the message. You're not really trying to, like, that guy looks like he's either a maniac child or he seriously wants to hurt this guy. But that's pretty, like, there's a line. I don't know, like, everyone's got a different line, but to me, it's just like, you're just doing that on your own because you're an insane kid, or else you seriously have a vendetta against this guy and you're taking, like, he did something personally to you and you're taking your chance to get to him. But I've never really done it like that. I've done lots of dirty shit, but that's kind of wild.
Yeah, that's probably stepping over the line, but I know some people are trying to draw comparisons to what happened a couple weeks ago with Eric Goodbranson and Nick Cousins. I don't think it's the same thing, is it?
No. Well, no. I mean, it's the same. If you were to write like a script on what happened, yeah, it sounds the same, but the one is just like a little different than the other in different leagues, and those are teenagers. I mean, there's different things into effect, but that guy has a cage on. I mean, I love how no one just takes into effect, was it his bare hand or was his glove on? They're like, he started punching him. Well, he had a fucking padded glove on. That's different than bare knuckles. Or his helmet was off and he's getting punched right in the face on his nose and his teeth and his lips and his everything. Or no, he had a full fucking steel cage protecting his face. There's differences between things. And I love it when people don't take that into account.
Man, I forgot to mention on Monday's show. So as you know, and I've mentioned time and time again, I play beer league puck on Sundays. There was a brawl to end my game on Sunday.
You got live barn on that?
Pardon me?
You got video live barn of this?
We got that. I was actually on the bench. I can get that to you, but essentially what happened is one of my buddies who played in the NLL was a fighter in the NLL, like went on a breakaway, and he was pushed into the goalie. Like he went hard in, like through the side and he bowled the goalie over. So they took exception to that. And then the only problem is that my one of my other buddies who is like a full-time fighter in his career since he was like 10, like he was on every team playing rep hockey just to drop the mitts and to go to the room and shower after. Like that's all it was. And good hockey player now, and was a good hockey player in the day, but just did his thing and was always that physical force. Well, he was on the ice, and I'm like, dude, you rip helmets off quicker than I rip off bras. Like it was so quick, dude. I look 1 second, this guy's helmet's already off, and he had this kid in the position like that. And apparently the guy's like, I don't want it. I don't want it. So he moved on to the next guy. Like he rolled through 3 guys, and it was like an all-out line brawl, and he cut some guy in the forehead, unfortunately.
Shit happens when you get out there playing the Sunday Night Beer League. But I want to see video of this, man. I want to break it down. These days, almost everything's recorded, man. We had a pretty intense game there in a town just south of us in our U11 hockey game, and it was a very intense game. And we found out afterwards that the live barn feed with the microphone was just right behind our heads, and absolutely every word is on record. And we're like, well, that would have been nice to know. Not that we're doing anything bad, but it was just like, it was our most intense game by far. And it's just like, wow, everything's being recorded.
Man.
I'd like to see this line brawl.
For those of you unfamiliar, that's pretty much what happened because of the pandemic. To allow people to watch their kids, they set up video cameras in the majority of arenas, at least here in Ontario. It sounds like in Alberta too, where it's like you have a chance to watch your kid, you can watch the stream, and they haven't got rid of that because I guess they're making money off it now. But it's kind of cool. I won't lie. Like, I know it's not the show. I know I play shitty ass beer league, but like, I think it's cool to pick up a video if I snipe or something like that to check it out and put on this show. I think it's great.
Yeah, it's when something happens, it's nice to go look at it. I played like one beer league game maybe 3-4 years ago, and the goalie for the other team had his own GoPro and sets it up on the glass behind him so that the whole game's recorded. You can watch it, and then he puts it on YouTube. So a couple funny things kind of happened during that game. And my buddy goes on YouTube and he can like zoom in and find it and then send it to us, and we all chuckled. But it's kind of funny. Nothing. I don't think you can do too much these days besides take a dump without being recorded.
Gonna have to get you that video. You're gonna have to meet my buddy Birdie in person. This guy has been in fights, hockey fights, and he was always just. I remember back in high school, and I always tell him this story. I would see him like in the hallway, during a casual day in high school. He'd say, "Hey, Bergs, you coming to my game tonight? I'm gonna fight." I'm like, how do you know this? Like, how do you know you're going to fight? And truth be told, I'd show up to the game, one shift in, he'd pop on the ice. He was the 7th defenseman. He'd fight their tough guy. Everybody would clap, and then the game would move on. He just knew his role. And I never truly appreciated his role until he was like on my beer league team, which is weird. But like, it's kind of cool having a guy, and you played this role too, where it's like, nobody's going to fuck with you because they know, like, fuck around, find out. Like, he's that type of guy. He will kill you. He's like the penultimate, or excuse me, the consummate like teammate, like the guy you want on your roster.
Well, he sounds like he's made of pure meat. Pure meat.
He is. He knows he is, though. He knows. And the thing is, the joke as he left the room after we all finished getting ready and leaving, I said, we'll see you in 2024, because I think it's an automatic 3-game suspect. He got 5 for sure. He's the only guy who got a penalty out of the whole thing because it was after the game.
Oh yeah, classic. No, sometimes those guys like are just like a dog, and you just let the leash off, and you just know they're gonna go to town, and they don't care if they get suspended or what. That's their glory. So yeah, good guys to have around when you need them.
The best part about it, so he's got 2 kids. He's like, one of my kids loves fighting. I'm like, say it ain't so. I'm like, his kid was in the crowd squaring up. He's like 3 years old. I'm like, well, that's a shocker.
I always go into my locker room for different teams that I'm coaching, and once in a while, like once a month, the kid comes up and they're like, we went on YouTube and we saw you were fighting everyone and you were so mad and being crazy. And I was just like, they superimposed me on those things.
Yeah.
But I knew that was going to come eventually, and it's starting right now.
Hockeyfights.com, humble promotion right there. And I won't lie, recently I was down a rabbit hole like 3M, which I do normally on YouTube, and I did catch some of your fights. And there's nothing like Bob Cole calling a hockey game, Bob Cole calling one of your fights. It's gonna be Rosehill, and they're going at it, and then there's like a long pause, and I'm like, I'm so into it, you know?
Yeah, one of my favorites is like Frankie Lassard, where we're going toe to toe, and it's the net cam footage of us, and then it's just Bob Cole. Nobody wanted to give it up. It's so good, man. I miss that voice.
Oh, he's unbelievable. He's unbelievable.
We gotta get that man on.
Pardon me?
We gotta get that man on.
Trying. It's
Yeah.
it's harder than others to track down some people. We're trying on Bob Cole. That would be honestly privilege, honestly, because
No
he's
kidding.
probably one of the biggest inspirations why I'm in broadcasting is Bob Cole. He's incredible.
If anyone can get him, you can, Nikolai.
It's the Boxing Week sale you never knew you wanted or needed, Rosie. From December 26th to December 31st, there will be some major savings on all Nation Gear merch, including discounts at our newest line drop, as well as the varsity collection. Keep it locked on nationgear.ca for some major Boxing Week savings at the Leafs Nation 401, where you can subscribe here on YouTube. Leafs Morning Take, wherever you find your podcasts as well. Brought to you by DoorDash. It's time for the appetizer. For a limited time, our listeners can get 25% off up to $10 in value and 0 delivery fees on their first order of $15 or more. When you download the DoorDash app, enter code NATION25. That's code NATION25 in uppercase. 25% off your first order with DoorDash. Offer valid in Canada. Subject to change. Terms apply. So all the great people out there on social media did some digging, including our guy over at the Leafs Nation, Joseph Zita. And he put together some numbers, because we talked about this yesterday about power play opportunities and chances and how I thought the league was rigged and what the fuck's going on because the Leafs are a skill team and never get power plays. Well, we have the data to back it up. As you see on your screen, if you're listening right now, the last 5 years, the Leafs have been consistently a bottom 5, bottom 10 team in the league. This year, Rosie, they're drawing 2.93 power plays per game. That's 31st out of 32 in the National League. Your thoughts?
That's weird, man. I mean, with the offensive power that we have and how often we have the puck, and the guys that like to get the puck and do special things, teams are always talk about how aware they are when those special players are on the ice, how much high octane firepower they have, and when you're playing a team like that, you tend to miss a step and reach and grab, and you tend to get a little hook and a little hold. And those players, when they're that dynamic, tend to draw penalties because they are exposing players and causing them to be out of position and have to reach and bend those rules to try to prevent them from getting to where they need to go. And so for that reason, you'd think they'd be one of the most what do you call it, power play-anized teams ever. They'd have the most power plays out of anyone just because of their offensive prowess, and they're fucking like dead last almost. I don't know, man. I don't like to go down the tinfoil hat, the Leafs get fucked, and then half the other side of the hockey world are going, the Leafs get special treatment. But the proof's in the pudding right there. They do not get the benefit of the doubt. They do not get many power plays, and it's odd. You wonder why. They're not divers. I don't know why that is, man. I don't know. They just tend to not get the calls, I guess. That's what the stats say, and we've been saying it for a while, and that proves it. So what else can you say besides it is what it is? But why? I don't know.
I'm very curious to see how many power plays they draw tonight. Again, that was one of the stories we talked about following the loss the other night against the New York Rangers. The Leafs got 0 power plays. How does that make sense? And the Rangers are 2 for 2 in that game. It happens way too frequently. Again, we don't even have the numbers when it comes to 5-on-3s. The Leafs never get a 2-man advantage. Like, it really is obscene and crazy. And I just wonder how many power plays they draw tonight against the Buffalo Sabres. I think it's going to be fascinating. You don't think these guys watch social media, know what's going on, the refs?
Hard to say.
Put it this way, Rosie, if I set a number at 2.5 power plays for the Leafs tonight, would you take the over or under? I'm taking the over.
Oh, would you? So
yeah.
You think they are going to respond?
I do.
I don't know. I'd almost, just based on the trend and the stats of the last 5 years, I would say under, but yet to be seen. I do know that give this team more power plays, and it's going to be very beneficial, obviously, for any team. But these guys got the weapons to be on the power play, and players like the ones that we have leading this team are the ones that absolutely lick their chops when they get on the peeper and get the man advantage, and even more so on the 5-on-3. And thinking about all the games I've watched this year, yeah, certainly does not happen often. I can't even hardly think of the last time we had a 5-on-3, where other games you see where they happen quite often. So it's a conspiracy. We're getting fucked. The league's against us. Bettman hates the Leafs, and we are against the 8-ball, and it's unjust, and we're going to revolt.
Mark writes in, you don't have to chew the conspiracy cookie if the numbers back up the theory. That's
True that.
Well put. It's very well put.
It's it's not a conspiracy if it's true.
Yeah. So looking forward to seeing how many power plays the Leafs get in this game. Wendy's is letting you win real food with your fantasy teams this year with the Wendy's Daily Face-Off Survivor Pool. Sign up to play the Daily Face-Off Survivor Pool to win weekly prizes like the new chicken strips and French toast sticks from Wendy's and the Wendy's app. Head on over to dailyfaceoffsurvivor.com to play today. So it's the Leafs and Sabres. Do you remember November 4th, Rosie? A
There was a
6-4
hockey
win for the Buffalo
game.
Sabres. Auston Matthews hat trick. The Leafs couldn't get a save, and here we are for the second of 4 meetings this season tonight.
Well, I do know the Sabres are coming off a shit hauling against the Columbus Blue Jackets. Yuck. So I don't want to be the team that receives, a team on a bounce back tear. I think that we kind of had that against the Rangers. They had, we kind of smacked them around in their barn, and we knew they were going to come in and be pissed off and wanting to rectify that last situation. So, I mean, they got to be aware that they just, it could go one of two ways. You get a team that's pulling their boots up and saying enough of this bullshit, and they're going to come together and put out a really good effort, or maybe they're just sliding like crazy. But regardless, I want the Maple Leafs to be prepared for this one and get some retribution for the game they last played as well. So another Auston Matthews hat trick would be just fine by me. And we got any updates on who's starting this one?
I'm going to check in a second. I just wanted to mention, too, and tee up that Adam Copeland, we talked about him yesterday, couldn't connect. We did interview him via Zoom, so that's coming up in about 15 minutes from now. I think I was reading reports that it's going to be Samsonov, but there's no confirmation on that just yet. There's speculation out there that it could be Ilya Samsonov that starts this game. Expected, but people are not sure on that front just yet.
Oh, cool. Regardless, I don't care. I want the guys in front of them. To be playing the right way. And, they got to rectify that last loss where, we talked about it yesterday, some bad bounces, no power plays, like literally 3 odd bounces. They scored 2 on their peeper. I mean, that's the game, right? So bounce back, pick up kind of the right kind of hockey here and finish off these last couple games on the right note and go into the break like we talked about again, feeling good, feeling positive, and take your rest and take your relaxation time with a good air in the Christmas magical air. Have some wins behind you, which would be nice. So I hope they're ready for this. But like you said, they got to be ready. They got smacked by them last time, and don't forget about that. I don't give a rip where they are in the standings or any of that stuff. I mean, we have proven we can lose to anyone. So let's be ready here, boys.
I think the positivity, too, is that the Leafs are 7-2-4 on the road. They've notched at least 1 point in 11 of the 13 road games. Always great to see. Auston Matthews is on fire. What is it, 11 goals in the last 7? I was going to ask you, too, like...
That's just crazy to say, man.
Yeah, it's like an afterthought now. I'm like, yeah, he's got 12 goals in the last 4 games, but it's Matthews, right? Like...
I know it's like 7 goals in the last 11. It's like, oh, he's ticking along, but like fucking 11 and 7 is just like... What do you mean, man? That's
how many goals did you score in your career?
5.5.
Exactly. 5.5. They split the puck in half once?
No, they disallowed one and fucking bullshit.
Fuckers. No, I'm not like ribbing at you. I think it just shows you how incredible it truly is, right? And obviously you're different types of players, but how this guy just scores at will. Like I again, there's select company where guys score at will. Ovechkin, Gretzky. I mean, the best of the best, but the way this guy scores is like unmatched. It really is.
Yeah, and I'm just starting to really sink my teeth into that because I know, I wasn't doing this show and following super close when he got 60 whatever and won the Rocket. Yeah. And then last year he wasn't quite there, wasn't quite on his pace. So this year it's just like I'm really seeing it. I'm really like it's starting to sink into me. And for some reason, those 2 goals last game when they're having trouble getting goals and nothing's going their way, and then just the way he scored them, it's just like so effortless and like it's just like nonchalant. And he just kind of like, and then he's just like having fun with it because he scores so many. He's like thinking about what should I do for my next celly, just because it's like he's like, this is a joke to me. And it's just like you're so much better at scoring goals than not just everyone else on the ice, but like it's getting to the point where like almost everyone else who's ever played hockey, like you're in select company with how good you are at putting the puck in the net. And it's pretty to watch, man. I hope it continues. I hope he just doesn't quit, man.
You're pretty to watch too, man. I won't lie.
Ooh.
Yeah. I'm getting all bothered right now just thinking about you doing this
You're having
show.
hot flashes.
Yeah.
I got a haircut too. No one noticed.
You did. You look great, man. I think it
Wife
was for the
didn't say
holiday show we're putting
nothing.
together.
I know the holiday show is going to be a heater. I don't know. I got a 24 days of Christmas or something, little craft beer selection. So I'm going through those, and there's lots of different flavors and tastes. I might bust one out for the holiday show.
You're going to be on with the guys in Calgary, right? Flames Nation tomorrow, Barn Burner on Friday, right?
Yeah, dude. I watched their last year's. It's like a holiday spirits episode, and they have to have 12 drinks in the show, and it's like an hour and 20 minutes. They have 12, and they're just sloppy at the end of it. And Boomer starts freaking out that it's the wrong thing to do, and we have to end the show. So I'm gonna go get my wife to take me to Calgary tomorrow, and because I'll need a ride home, and we'll see how that goes.
Wait, so she's going to drop you off. What is she going to do for like, what is it, like 2-3 hours?
I don't know. She's got her parents in town, so they'll go
Okay.
cruise around Calgary, get an appy, or do some shopping. I don't know that, but don't worry. Put my wife in the big city. She's not going to have trouble fucking finding something to do.
And then they're going to pick you up and you're going to be all gooned up. Is that what's going on?
That is correct.
That is correct. Any concern about Buffalo coming off that 9-4 loss? Like, conventional wisdom would suggest they're going to be ready to play. It is the Sabres. You never know what you're going to get with this team. They've lost 8 of the last 11 games. They always seem to play up to the Leafs. They always seem to get up for those games. But is it a tough position being in that from an NHL level, Leafs or any other team, where you know the opponent's going to be a bit pissed off, you would think?
Yeah, I think you got to be aware of that. Like, that might be part of the pregame speech. These guys got smacked around. Make no mistake, they have been getting a tongue lashing, and they have been breaking it down, and absolutely nobody is happy with how things are going over there. So they're going to come out and throw the kitchen sink at us. So, like, be prepared for that. Don't be surprised. I mean, these guys don't get to this level without seeing that in their whole careers. So to think that they'd be like, oh, these guys are getting smacked, they're brutal, we don't really have to show up tonight, I mean, would just be so amateur hour. So I'm assuming they're not going to do that, but we do know that they have a tendency to kind of not be up for the games against the, you could call it, lower tier teams. So I mean, we're talking about that ad nauseum this year, so we'll see how they come out. But I don't know, I think you got to focus on yourself and talk about how last game went, and how you got to scrub that one and see if you can get a win on the board and play well in front of these goaltenders. So we'll see if they bring it tonight. But again, I'm going to put my money on the Leafs W. I don't know what the odds are, but I just believe that they will win this game.
I like it, and hopefully I want to see a bit of an atmosphere. It is the holiday season. They're not in Toronto, which is great. They're in Buffalo. I think people are going to be having a couple pops and getting ready for all the food and all the drinks, and I think they're going to be into it. And it usually is a pretty good atmosphere. I mean, you've played in one of these games, right?
Yeah, I like food and drinks too, so it should be buzzing. But yeah, I mean, when those fans come down to Toronto, and I mean come down to Buffalo during the holiday season, I think people are kind of starting to get off work and ready to let loose. So yeah, I'm hoping I'm going to watch the game and see if when the Leafs score, pay attention how loud it is in comparison to when Buffalo scores, because it's just wild to look up, and like you almost feel like sheepish to be in different NHL arenas and have the different fans. You're supposed to be hearing them. It's supposed to be an away game, and there is more than a handful of barns where you're playing for the Leafs. It's as loud or louder when you score, because it's just full of your fans. And that happens down south with the Snowbirds being down there, and it happens around Buffalo and then those types of barns too. So looking forward to seeing that, and I hope it's extra rocking because it's the holidays.
There's a bet I really, really like, which will bring to the Betano wrap-ups coming up in about 20 minutes. But why don't we get to the interview? The following interview is brought to you by our friends over at Battle Axe Throwing. Book your December holiday party now and snag exclusive Boxing Day and Break Week rates. Visit between December 26th and 29th for 15% off. To find a location and book your event today, go to battlegrounds.com. That's battlegrounds.com. Rosie, we tried yesterday to get this man on. We recorded after. Damn technology, just the bane of our existence here on this show. But without further ado, here is AEW's Adam Copeland. Enjoy it.
I always went as Adam Copeland. Just a lot of people know me as. So I have to answer to both.
I was going to say, what's that been like? So you made a pretty big change in your life a couple months back. What's that been like? And can you, in hockey terms, what is that like? Going like the Leafs to the Habs, or the Leafs to the Bruins? What would it be like?
I don't know in terms of high, but I don't really look at anything. Here's how I look at it. I don't look at it more of like a sports franchise thing. I think of it more as like, okay, Paul Newman made movies for MGM. Paul Newman made movies for Paramount. It's just a different production house. That's
Good
kind of
way to
how
look at it.
it's. I don't understand the whole like. I love the initials of this company, so anything else is rotten. Like really, I love the Leafs. I like the Devils, but I'll still watch a Bruins game because they're a great team, and I love watching good hockey.
That's a good way to look at it. I get that. I get that. What speaking of the Leafs, you've been pretty busy, I imagine, but you have time to catch up with this franchise. And what do you think of the roster so far this year and the changes they made?
Man, the same as everybody else. It's a weird season, man. Like I don't know, like because you look at it on paper and go, well, they're doing great, and they are. And Matthews is like 25 goals. Marner, Nylander, point streaks at the yin yang. Like, and more than anything, I think it's always the goaltending and how that kind of feels. But I really like Martin Jones. I really like how calm and how it feels like a calming influence when he's in the net. A couple of those bounces last night were just, ridiculous. They were like ping pong balls, like spinning, and like a few of those. What are you going to do, right? But I feel like he's been kind of a missing ingredient that this team has kind of needed. Is that guy that when all else fails, you can bring him in and he's going to be solid. He's experienced, so I feel like that's been huge. Morgan Rielly, to me, this is Morgan Rielly and Auston Matthews healthy. This is what you get. Like when people were down on Rielly last year and all, and even on Matthews, nobody wants to play less than. Those guys were hurt. That collision against the Islanders with Rielly, I don't think he was ever 100% after that until maybe the playoffs. And you saw what he did in the playoffs. To me, he's the engine of the team. I mean, you can point to the Marners, the Nylanders, the Matthews, but it all goes off of Rielly to me. And he's just been playing phenomenal. To me, he's the true leader of that team.
In fact, I put out a tweet on Tuesday during the game. I said, hopefully Norris vote getters and vote makers are keeping note and monitoring, because I think Rielly's been that good. Like, I think he deserves to be in that conversation. Obviously, some other guys, namely, Quinn Hughes in Vancouver, but like Rielly's been exceptional. It's not really being talked about enough, I think.
Well, it's because of the way he plays.
Yeah.
He doesn't play that super flashy game. I think he could if he wanted to, but if you look past the numbers, and if you look, let's say, to the numbers of minutes per game, penalty minutes, he doesn't have a penalty. He's the quarterback that is most of the time, if he's on the ice, he's bringing it up the ice and then jumping into the play like he did last night with Matthews. Like he's got great mitts, and so it would be great for him as a player who truly, like, you hear Ringo Starr, right? And he says, I always played for the song. I didn't worry about solos. I didn't worry about like these flashy fills like Keith Moon would do. Ringo played for the song. And I feel like that's what Morgan Rielly does. He plays for the team. He plays for the game, not for stats.
I like that too. Did you happen to catch pregame with John Tavares? They honored him, and we were chuckling on our show today about that 5-foot collage of himself they put together. We were laughing about where they expect to hang that damn thing. Being a WWE Hall of Famer yourself, have you ever gotten anything like that and thinking, what the hell am I going to do with this?
Yes, and especially a guy like Tavares, right? Who doesn't even talk about himself like ever. He was, and bless him, all about his kids, all about his family. That's why he's captain, right? Another guy who, by the way, if you just watch Tavares pretty much every shift and his hustle and the way he gets in front of the net, digs it out from the boards. I love watching that guy. But that collage is like, I did these Slim Jim commercials like years ago, and the whole deal was they put these paintings of Edge doing these insane things like spearing a werewolf and doing a kickstand and skateboard in the Grand Canyon and all of those things. Well, they sent them to me. These things are massive. Like they're giant portraits. I'm like, well, what am I going to do with these? Like they're cool, but I'm not going to hang them up in the house. Like, what do you do? So they're collecting mold in the basement.
Yeah, some of the things you get sometimes you're like, I don't know what's happening with that. I will tell you this, like Joseph Woll's been a great story. What have you made of that development? I think not seeing him the last little while makes me miss him a bit more. But are you a believer in Joseph Woll?
Absolutely. I was a believer from day one with him. I always like watching him progress and come through the system. I assumed he was going to be the guy. And it wasn't a matter of, if, it was just a matter of when. He seems really well adjusted, good head on his shoulders. That's, when I see those interviews and my takeaway from that, it's okay. This kid's got his head together, and that's huge. Especially as a goalie, man. Like, especially as a goalie in Toronto, like, whew, that's an insane pressure cooker. But I really like him, and it's just such a shame the game he was playing the night he got hurt. He was ridiculous. Like, I see why. I don't know how many splits he hit, but he's a big dude to be doing that too. My groin was screaming watching.
Yeah, that's not a position I ever wanted to play myself. But speaking of the future, though, like, what do you want to see out of this team if they're going to go the distance? If they've got a team that potentially could go, we don't quite think they're there yet as far as consistency and their roster. But moving forward, trade deadline, getting into the playoffs, what do you want to see out of this group to make you feel confident of them going on a big run?
Well, I've always been a huge proponent for Jake Muzzin, right? And even hearing last night in the commentary, they're like, they're missing Jake Muzzin. And I'm glad that was finally mentioned because, well, once someone's injured, especially with an injury like that, and you kind of go off the radar, you forget what they meant to the team. But I always said if Jake Muzzin had the puck, I always felt good. I feel like that's what they're missing. And maybe that's Tanev. That seems kind of like a no-brainer, that kind of physical play, that kind of really physical defenseman, and I think also too, like the guys have stepped up and, Timmins and guys are stepping up, especially with Giordano out. That's another big hole. I think once you get your defensive core back, it probably feels a lot better. And even still, like the fact that they've won the way they have, they're never out of a game, which I think is great in terms of thinking ahead to the playoffs. It's like, okay, even if they get down 2 or 3, you don't want that, but this team can. I think a couple of those holes, and maybe it starts to feel a little more cohesive than it has. I think Noah Gregor is another guy that, as we're starting to see, like when I saw those bursts of speed, I was like, whoa, man, he's impressive. Like, I really feel with more ice time, and I feel like he could go up and down the lineup too. Like, I feel like you could put him on first line, you could put him on second, you put him on third, you put him on fourth. That's the kind of guy you want in the playoffs. And he's just got jets. Like, he skates by everybody, and that's exciting. That, like, I've been a big fan of him, especially this season. Watching him, I'm like, ooh, man. Again, the other night, I think he was on the first line for a little bit. I'd love to see that a couple more times. I'd really like to see him and Nyes on a line together. I feel like that could be really interesting.
Reminds me a lot of like Michael Grabner, but with finishing abilities, right? When it comes to Noah Gregor. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about the whole conundrum surrounding Willie Nylander. Like, where do you stand? How do you think this should play out?
Well, man, I mean, he's just such a creative player.
So
like,
good.
he's one of those guys, like, as soon as he touches the puck, you kind of sit up, right? I'm sure every team they play against feels the same way. That's a massive weapon. And so what do you do if you don't re-sign him? Who do you get? What fills that void? Because there's not many guys like that with that ability, that speed, that game-changing, game-breaking ability. I mean, you can make the argument this core has only gotten so far, all of those things, but they're all producing. They're doing their job. So I don't know, man. There's people that far higher on the pay grade than I am in terms of making that decision. But I wouldn't. I'd just say you keep him. He's on pace for probably 40 this year, right? I mean, he's on pace for his career best. Seems like I don't know, man. You could say you trade him while that's happening, or you keep him and hold on to him, sign him. It sends a message to the entire locker room. You know, I don't know.
It's tough, right? It's
It
tough
is.
because you pay Matthews, Marner's coming up, JT's coming up. Like I'd love a perfect world where JT's a Leaf for life. I think it's there. But I think
Yeah,
there's got to be a pay scale, right?
yeah. I feel like too, if you don't re-sign Tavares, that to me that's a demoralizer. You know,
Yeah.
I feel like he's the rudder that kind of just keeps everything even keeled. Class act, doesn't crack under any pressure in that market as the captain of that team, as a hometown guy. That's a ridiculous set of pressures on that dude. You'd never see it.
Yeah.
Never. Just lastly, Percy Jackson and the Olympians premiered on Disney Plus. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I filmed it last summer, and you know, all knock on wood, this is just the first season. You know, is the first season was the first book, so if that holds, then hopefully we get 6 seasons out of this thing. But it was a blast, and really just in going to the premiere last week and seeing the first 2 episodes, I got really excited because I saw how excited my girls got watching it, and my girls were like really into it, to the point where they were like, last night we found out it was going to drop last night, so they're like, when's it on, I'm checking every 5 minutes in between watching the game, going, okay, hold on. And so they're super excited, which made me excited that a whole new era of fan can check this out, and a lot of different eyeballs that have never seen me before, because this is a role where I'm not chopping people's heads off. I'm not, you know, dealing with supernatural powers or anything like that. It's just, well, I mean, playing the God of War, so there's that. But it's Disney, and it's really, really well done. So I'm pretty excited.
Dude, I was laughing on social last week. You're getting some heat for your attire. Did you raid Mitch Marner's closet for that look or what?
So actually, it's a company in Toronto, Coup de Tete, right? And I'd been seeing their hats, and I was like, ooh, I got an idea. I play Ares, the God of War. I'm going in full Ares. So they measured up my noggin on, like, over Zoom, and were able to get the measurements to that thing. And I was like, yeah, I'm going for it. I'm going to do it. And guess what? People are going to talk about it. And they did.
Dude, I thought it was great, man. I saw you tweet about it after. I'm like, oh no, he's got to answer the bell here.
Yeah, man. I've been wearing crazy hats for years.
Yeah. No, we love it, man. I know Rosie gets on Marner all the time for it, but man, it's been great. So great catching up. You're doing phenomenal work. I know we text quite a bit. AEW work. It must be cool, like feuding with your buddy, like your best friend too, eh?
Yeah, especially after all this time. We're both told, you know, he was retired for 7 years, told he'd never do it again. I'm retired for 9 years, told I'd never do it again. Then we had a moment at the Royal Rumble there a couple of years ago in front of no one, you know, except people just watching home and TV screen. And we thought that was it. And so to get this opportunity, you know, and get to do it at this stage in our lives and our careers, but with this stage of experience too. You know, I feel like you got a couple of Giordano's in there doing our thing.
I like it. I like it.
It's good to
Man,
see.
happy holidays. Thank you so much for this. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Good to see you again.
There you have it, Adam Copeland. Hope you enjoyed that, and watch him on AEW. He's feuding with his buddy. I think he's taking some time off right now, but yeah, I was actually talking to him yesterday. He's going to be at All-Star Weekend too.
Oh, cool. We can meet him in person. And yeah, he's in these like movies and series now, and like with a potential 6-year run. I think his trajectory is only going like this, man.
Doing well, in a WWE Hall of Famer as well. Just some news from the morning skate. Mark Giordano appears set to join the team for the full skate. He is on the ice for the full skate, but he's skating with Legason, so I wouldn't expect Gio back tonight, but that's a positive development.
Sounds like he's close. He's skating in pregame skate. See if they bag skate him after everyone else gets off, and then they will be getting him close to game ready, man. That's a good sign.
Still looking on no word on a starting goaltender, but again, the speculation is that it's going to be Ilya Samsonov. We'll see who leaves the ice first. Our friends over at Covered Bridge are in a giving mood this holiday season. Over the next day or so, they'll be giving away 3 prize packs, and it's pretty easy to be eligible to win. All you got to do is follow Covered Bridge on Twitter at CB Chips and Instagram at CB_Chips, plus like and tag 2 of your friends, in their promotional posts about this giveaway for a chance to win an 8-pack of Storm Chips and 1 branded plaid fleece as we get set for the Leafs and the Sabres on a Thursday night, the penultimate game before the 3-day holiday break for the Maple Leafs as well. The Betano wrap-up is presented by Betano.ca. The game starts now, 19+. Please play responsibly. On Saturday, December 23rd, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, Betano is hosting a live online trivia show with the biggest prize pool yet at $2,000. No deposit required. All you need is a Betano account to participate. So look out for that on Saturday, the Leafs and the Columbus Blue Jackets before the holiday break. And Rosie, I hinted earlier on, there's one bet I really like in this game. It is the over. 5 straight meetings have hit the over between the Leafs and the Sabres. So I'll be hammering the over tonight.
Over 6.5 or 7? Do you know what it's at yet? I can't pull it up.
It's at 6.5, but it could change to 7.
Yeah, I like it at 6.5. 7's a little washy, but yeah, I mean, like you say, follow the trend. There's a high-scoring team. These Buffalo Sabres just let 9 in last game against Columbus. So I mean, if Columbus can stack 9 on them, maybe the Leafs can get 14 or 15 if they got their heads screwed on straight.
Yeah, it's pretty much my rule of thumb. Like, neither team can play defense, so I expect a lot of offense. That's the way I put it.
That's why, and I mean, Vegas knows that these guys are that way, so hence why I think maybe that line might go up to 7, but if you can catch it at 6.5, I say grab it.
Yeah, I agree, and it looks like it's going to be Samsonov against Devin Levi, so I believe that is a confirmation right there in the chat from producer Vic. If it's not, then shoot us. I don't know what to tell you, but that's the speculation, and that's the right choice, right, if it's Samsonov?
Like I said yesterday, I don't care. You got a couple games left to the break. Play what you want. You got 2, similar lower level teams, whatever. Get Sam. I want to win games. I like seeing, both, but I want Sammy to get going. So you got to play him today, play him on Saturday. I don't really care, but I'd like to go into the break, getting Sammy a win and having a little bit of confidence so he can feel that he's been fighting it this year. I can imagine why his confidence is low, difficult position, and I want to see that guy. I'm not done with Sammy. I'm not the one that's like, get rid of this guy, send him, trade him, send him down, like put him on waivers. I think he's got some good goaltending in him, and he's shown that last year, and I just want to see if he can get his confidence back. It's too early to give up on him.
Fair enough, and depending on the book, I know some of you are saying the number's at 7. I still see 6.5 at a couple different books. I got him at 6.5. I know the price is extremely juiced, but I expect a lot of offense in this game, and you're expecting a Maple Leafs victory, right?
That's what I said.
Love it. Okay, Rosie, we'll leave it at that. You're not here tomorrow because you're going to get boozed up on Barn Burner, which I will be tuning in to watch. So Carter Hutton's going to be in the mix, but happy holidays and Merry Christmas, buddy.
Same to you, my guy, and looking forward to the Christmas show. And then everyone have a nice little New Year. We'll take a little breaksy poo and get back at her next week. Looking forward to it, though.
You still got a couple shows left in 2023, my man.
Oh yeah, but do I tomorrow?
Next
week.
week.
I said Merry Christmas, dude. I didn't say.
No, we said Happy New Year too.
Well, it's just because you say that at the end of that.
Yeah, I know. Sorry. I don't know what to say this time of year. I for years I was saying Happy Holidays, but I was working in the corporate world. Fucking Merry Christmas, okay? I don't know why we lost track of the whole
Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
When it's Hanukkah, say Happy Hanukkah. Like, fuck off. Can't say.
All right.
Merry.
Very well put. That's Jay Rosehill. Be back next week again. We're with you the 27th to the 29th, so Wednesday to Friday. Keep note of that. Thank you to everybody in the chat at the Leafs Nation 401. And Rose is just gone, just like that. Again, that's Jay Rosehill. I'm Nick Alberga, and we'll talk on Friday. Carter Hutton's going to be in the mix. Take care.
Thank you for watching Leafs Morning Take. Hit that subscribe button and never miss a show. And for more, visit theleafsnation.com. TheLeafsNation.com. If you don't know how to spell the Leafs Nation, you know what I mean? But hey, sometimes you never know.